Welcome to Scouting for Growth, the podcast that brings you insights from the forefront of innovation and digital transformation. I'm your host, Sabine VdL, and today we have an exceptional guest joining us, Jeff Abbott, the CEO of Ivanti, a technology company with expertise in the security space, but also enhancing the work experiences of companies and their employees. Jeff is a visionary leader with over 25 years experience in the enterprise software and services industry. Since taking the helm of Avanti as CEO in October 2021, he has been steering Avanti's growth strategy with remarkable acumen, positioning the company at the forefront of enabling and securing the everywhere workplace. Under Jeff's leadership, Ivanti has been instrumental in shaping the future of work, a topic that has become increasingly vital in our everyday workplace and digital transformation. Today, we will be diving into Ivanti's latest research, the Everywhere Work 2024 report, which offers crucial insights into how organizations are adapting to the challenges and opportunities presented by remote work, hybrid work models. Jeff's unique perspective has been shaped by his extensive experience at tech giants like Accenture, Oracle, and Infor. This wealth of knowledge we have to acknowledge as perfectly positioned Jeff to guide Avanti through the complexity of today's digital transformation landscape. I remember meeting Jeff many years ago, probably 3 years, as I got involved with this report now for 3 years, and I've seen the evolution it has gone through. So in our discussion, we'll explore the workplace of today, how that workplace is evolving, the impact of emerging technologies on that workplace, and what businesses need to do to thrive in this new era of work. We will indeed delve into the transformative power of everywhere workplace and this implication, as I said earlier, on businesses and employees alike. So get ready for an engaging conversation that promises to shed light on the future of work and the technology landscape that is shaping it. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Sabine. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
So I'm going to dive straight into my first question to you, Jeff. Tell us a little bit more about you and what got you into Avanti, because I know you for 3 years, but I'm sure you have had many years of experience in tech and in the tech industry. And so let's get our audience, our listeners to actually get to know you a little bit better.
I'd be happy to. Thank you. Well, you're right. I've spent the last 20 years of my career diving into some of the biggest transitions in technology around the world. In the late 90s and early 2000s, I was part of the movement to bring ERP to the industrial world and transition everyone to a more modern, automated workplace with ERP. And then from the mid 2000s to the mid 20 teens, next phase was transitioning customers to the cloud world and everything that went with that transition. And that's still going on, quite frankly. But then more recently, I took the CEO role of Avanti because I wanted to join this movement to bring the first purpose-built platform solution for CIOs and CISOs to enable everywhere work. If you think about where some of the most successful platforms are, Salesforce.com has brought an amazing platform to sales and marketing. Workday, amazing platform for HR. CIOs and CISOs have not had that. So that is our quest at Avanti, is to bring that platform. And in this transition we're in right now, the global business community at large, I believe it's the most important evolution in contemporary business we've seen in the last 25 years, and that's to go to everywhere work. And I honestly think it's going to be the basis for our economic well-being for the next 50 years if we get this right. So I'm really excited about this transition we're in now.
So let's dive into the state of everywhere work, Jeff, if we may. So, based on the report, right, with 80% of professionals valuing flexible work, but only 25% experiencing high flexibility, and I think I'm one of those, what strategies can organization implement to bridge this gap, right? This future of work gap without compromising on productivity and on security within the organization?
Yeah, Sabine, I honestly, I think this is an area where it makes sense for leadership teams to go on offense. And what I mean by that is to take some active steps to dig a little deeper into this, this divide. With remote work becoming more prevalent, surveying your employees, I believe, is more and more important, kind of this idea of remote leadership and keeping up with, call it the vibe of the company in the remote world. So surveying employees and the rest of the executive suite to understand their experience and challenges with different modes of work, like remote or hybrid or flexible. Understand what's going on out there. And once that understanding is reached, then the CIO and Chief Information Security Officer, commonly known as a CISO, they must reach a shared understanding of the organization's, call it security risk tolerance, answering questions like, okay, what additional risks are we willing to tolerate in exchange for a more empowering digital landscape for our knowledge workers? And you have to consider how that flexible work impacts the tech stack. Does your organization have the solutions in place for end users and IT to keep up and stay productive in hybrid work? So I think it begins again by really researching with your specific organization, where are we in the whole digital culture?
So, for you, what are the most significant challenges, right, that you have observed within the organization you are working with who are transitioning? And you mentioned, right, flexible work include remote, hybrid,
Right.
another form of working. Maybe, as I was saying to some of your team members recently, I would love to be working on the beach someday and do all this great work from, the sound of the water. So how can we, or how can Ivanti with its solution help overcome these obstacles?
Yeah, I'd love the beach idea too, Sabine. The biggest challenge is, I'm just going to keep it simple. Engaging in the everywhere work policy and technical adjustments in the safest and most secure way. You can't rush this. You got to get it right. You just can't wing it. I would say that's number one. And then, getting the solutions in place that monitor and provide complete oversight for, employees onboarding and offboarding, the coming and going of the network from an everywhere work perspective. Employees are on the edge. They're everywhere. As you just said, the beach, at the coffee shop, wherever they are, you have to have a safe and secure onboarding and offboarding on the network, and ensuring that every device is kept the healthiest, and that entire scope 24/7, 365 has to be safe and secure. And honestly, Sabine, you asked how is Avanti addressing? This is what we do. Avanti helps organizations that are making this transition to a more flexible work model, and we help them maintain a comprehensive view of their IT landscape with visibility into the entire ecosystem and infrastructure, devices and solutions. And our solutions have the built-in flexibility to allow, call it a full spectrum of everywhere work policy and enablement. As you said, either fully remote or hybrid and everything in between.
You see, what I've seen, even in my organization, Jeff, is I've had as an adaptive leader to actually help my team to really understand what security means in different ways, and how, hackers are potentially able or willing, or how they are trying to enter the organization through, phishing, emails, and other forms of activities, which through education, we can actually help them understand that they just need to be aware, because the error usually doesn't come from the technology. I often hear it comes from the human. So I would love to dive into the leadership perception and on the employee reality with you. And that actually, based on the report, right, there seems to be a disconnect between the leadership and the employee's reality regarding remote work and remote work tools. And we, as leaders need to make sure we give the right tool to our employees so that they can do the right work. How can organizations better align their perspective to improve everywhere work experiences for employees, for leaders, and eliminating also, I think I read in the report, resignation and burnout?
Yeah, no question. And going back to your first point, Sabine, the the threats from bad actors or cyber terrorists is as bad as it's ever been. It's getting worse. To your point, and it is I think the difference is these days it's a persistent threat. They don't just come and knock on the door and try and get those phishing campaigns here or there. It's a campaign. It is nonstop. So the vigilance is so important. To your point. And you're right. The survey revealed that over 90% of leaders we surveyed say that employees have the tools to be productive in a remote or hybrid work environment. But those employees, the leadership believes it's 90%. Those employees, just 57% say they need better tools and better access and don't have the smoothest experience from a digital culture perspective. So what we're observing is that IT teams aren't fully bought into the value of what we call DEX, or the digital experience platform. And I think like any new solution area that has great promise, there's always first a sort of a show me attitude, as in, let's see the value of it. So IT teams are less likely than leadership to say improving the digital employee experience, again, known as DEX, positively affects productivity and retention and satisfaction. And additionally, those IT professionals don't always get to experience the benefits of the digital employee experience that they actually help power. And as a result, to your point, they don't buy into it. And simply because they haven't had a positive experience themselves. So when you think about that, then applying the promise of DEX should really start with IT, because they're the ones enabling it. They are the the enablers of digital transformation in the contemporary work world. And your final point was also correct. They are feeling burnout due to the high ticket volumes and demands placed on them, again, in the everywhere work world. So when a new project like DEX is suggested, it can be difficult to respond if you're in IT with anything but cynicism. So, this is a point with which I think both the CIO and the CISO have to lock arms and enable IT to understand how they can truly impact productivity with the DEX platform, just by having transparency and visibility across the landscape of the company and understanding where there is sand in the gears, where is the productivity not where it should be and could be better. I think that puts them in a much more powerful position. But this starts with first enabling the IT teams with their own understanding of what the digital culture looks like in an organization.
It's interesting that 60% of employees feel that they don't have the right tools to do their work, though, right? And so as a result, we need to enable the CIOs and the CISOs to actually understand what the employee needs to get the job done. And often the job is linked to the customer experience, right? How do we deliver for our customer? And employee A may need different tools from employee B. So I guess it is important from the CIOs and CISOs to actually understand the challenge more seriously. So my question to you, Jeff, is how can they better work together, right? Leaders understand it, but now we need to make sure IT leaders also enable their employees with the resources, the productivity to make their everyday work possible, and maybe find the right measures to actually understand what that means from a metrics viewpoint. What's your view, Jeff?
Yeah, for sure. I think you're absolutely on the right track, Sabine. And look, our research and our own experience with our customers, our 40,000 customers around the world, has told us IT and security teams have traditionally been very siloed, right? IT teams absolutely want to expand employees' access to tools and services that will make them more effective and productive, no matter where they work. But they have to do so with security in mind. Likewise, security teams are paid to ensure a complete lockdown, again, on network access and solution strength and so on. But they now have to recognize that their surface area, what they cover and manage, and the security parameters of the surface area are changing. So these two organizations can no longer work independently. There has to be a summit meeting of sorts where they find common ground to enable their employees in the everywhere work world and do it in the most secure fashion. And I'm not saying that's easy. That's going to take time, and it's going to take baby steps at first. But ultimately, that's where we're headed, is no longer operating IT over here, security over here. We see these organizations starting to converge. And that's why this platform that we're undertaking is so important for the future.
Yeah. So you mentioned DEP, right? The digital employee platform, and DEX, the digital employee experience. So before going into those two concepts, I would like to actually go into, the technology of the year, artificial intelligence, automation, augmentation, and extension of our work with those great tools, so much excitement around AI today. But still, despite 76% of professionals believing that AI and automation can help decrease ticket volume, right, based on what we are talking about today, and, therefore providing better services and experiences, adoption rates remain low. So what are the main barriers you think to implementation, and how can organization overcome them?
Yeah, good, really, really astute point. It's true. There's a lot of recent research that states that AI and automation can help, for example, decrease ticket volume. And if you think of ticket volume, this is, you and I are used to this, Sabine. We've been in the business a long time. From our very early days and starting our first jobs, you needed to get something done to either your desktop or your laptop. You submitted an IT ticket, right? So now what we're seeing is that if you apply AI to ticketing systems, it would suggest at least that is the results are uneven at best. And what we're seeing customers do to get started is leveraging what they're already pretty good at to try AI. And again, starting with ticketing, we're engaging our internal customers in the fastest, most efficient, intelligent way with AI, with ticketing systems. That's learning what are the most common tickets submitted. How can we automate that? How can we make that a better experience? So that's where we've started at Avanti as well. Avanti, Neurons for IT Service Management, automates workflows, eliminating manual processes, and making business more efficient and more compliant and more secure with security. So by applying AI in that area, the ticketing area to start with, you're eliminating big chunks of routine time otherwise managed by human beings by optimizing the prioritization and resolution. And that gives IT teams back big parts of their day to focus on strategic project work, like, again, improving the solution landscape and creating a better digital culture. So I just have a larger view of AI overall. Sabine, you didn't ask, but I'll just say I
I'd love
think
to hear.
we're still very much in this experimental period
Okay.
where people are looking to the most reliable areas that they know they're pretty good at and saying, okay, let's see how AI does. That can include support, right? When customers call in about specific challenges they're having with your solution or your product. That's another area where if you're pretty good at it, you can get some results from AI automation. And I think we're going to see it grow from there. But that's where organizations are starting right now with AI.
So, I mean, it's interesting. We are all dabbling with artificial intelligence, right? We want to be part of this revolution. And actually, now that I would say AI is, usable, no code, low code to, business people like you and I, leaders within our organization, we can actually really understand what AI is about. I would love to hear, actually, Jeff, how are you leveraging artificial intelligence and automation within Ivanti to actually augment what people do every day, but also address the challenge of everywhere works?
Yeah, no question. We started internally what we call the AI Governance Committee. Now, you have to remember, as a tech company, you can only imagine how excited the various knowledge workers in my company are at trying it. And I say governance because the first thing we needed to do was kind of put a model in place that allowed for experimentation, but in a safe, secure way, because there are all kinds of considerations with AI. Your data architecture, data privacy law, unintended bias that sometimes goes with AI. So that governance committee has provided an avenue for intake, what we call the intake model. Fill out a form. Here's what I want to test AI with. I'm going to use this third-party application. We can provide a safe, secure, call it air-gapped environment where it won't affect any critical systems, and they can experiment with it. And from that has come a couple of the examples I mentioned. We are now applying AI to our Neurons platform to automate the ticketing process in ITSM. We're applying AI in marketing to assist with what we know to be the best demand generation campaigns being fully automated. Support. We're applying AI in our support organization to allow for, again, what's become routine for the support organization to be fully automated and thus free up time for more strategic projects and productivity. And that's year one, right? And out of the, I want to say 25 or 30 various tests that have been run through the intake process, 2 or 3 are in production today. So I personally believe it's time for caution, cautious experimentation. Let's first get the value proven in the safe, most secure way, and then expand from there.
Yeah, I hear that the team at Ivanti is already, through the governance committee and the structure, thinking about responsible and trustworthy application of artificial intelligence. And I think that is what business out there are looking for. And so when we actually start looking at empowering flexible workers, right, the hybrid and remote workers with some of those tools, Jeff, how does your team play in helping, your clients, organizations out there empower their employees to work flexibly while maintaining a strong security posture, understanding the aspect of responsibility and trustworthiness required when we implement such type of technology?
Great question, Sabine. I believe we have entered a period where, in my opinion, the CIO and the CISO and those entire organizations are finally getting the respect they deserve. They have been the yeoman's workers of the contemporary business world in terms of enabling cloud business, as I said earlier, ERP business, transitioning to automation and digital transformation. That has been those organizations, and they are now getting their due. So again, this is who we are and what we do at Avanti. We help organizations that want to transition to a more flexible work model by ensuring they maintain really a comprehensive view of their IT landscape. And we have the automation built in to allow for a full spectrum of everywhere work policy and enablement. That means, Sabine, in simplest terms, where every user is, where every device is, anywhere, anytime, all maintained with the highest security possible. And that's our passion. That's what we love to do, is finally give these organizations the tools they need to deliver, quite frankly, what I believe, again, this everywhere work revolution is going to be the enabler of the most robust economy in the next 50 years.
Yeah. So we are talking about your client organization. Within those organizations, we have employees. Employees are actually learning to be respected, I would say, with their digital experiences. So tell us a little bit more around the DEP, the Digital Experience Platform, and also give us some definition so that we can actually start better understanding where DX works within that framework.
Yeah, like the most relevant experiences. So, going back to the research we've done, 72% of CEOs believe that the digital experience platform can and will elevate their CIOs to a more strategic role in the organization. So honestly, I think what we're doing is, with these platforms, is striving for companies to retain their best talent. You're giving them better tools, a better digital culture, and you're aligning to their needs to create maximum productivity and innovation. And candidly, you're giving them better work lives, Sabine, as you were talking about. And these days, better work lives means better lives overall, in my opinion. And in the C-suite, you're differentiating yourselves and the company overall as strategic leaders and strategic companies by recognizing the need for these platforms. These platforms, again, that enable the best possible solutions for every organization within the company in the safest and most secure environments. And by doing so, again, now you have the tech world, the CIO and the CISO, connecting directly to the priorities of the CEO and the board of directors on what it means to be an excellent company. I'm trying not to overstate it, but I really believe that that's what all of this work enables. And that's what's create these relevant digital experiences are going to translate into the best companies in the world.
So looking at the future, because we are talking about what is possible right now today. So organization can embrace flexible work, hybrid remote work. They can do it by actually building unit experiences for employees within the organization, but also for their customers. So looking ahead, Jeff, what do you see are going to be the most critical developments from a technology viewpoint, from a workplace viewpoint, that is going to shape the future of work? I love to talk about digitize everywhere work, new
Yep.
experiences for customer and employee. What is your view, Jeff?
As we transition to everywhere work, Sabine, and this is why the topic of the day is digital experience platform and digital experience overall. Whether it's in the sales organization or engineering or marketing or operations, these digital platforms, decks, will show where there's sand in the gears, right? If we reach a point where digital work is ubiquitous, I can log on anywhere, anytime, and be somewhat productive, but I could be better. Dex is going to zero in on where could we be better. It's going to point out to you where is the experience not where it could be, or maybe not what best or world class is. And knowing those spots is power. It allows for a more impactful prioritization of improvement projects, because you look at the trends and you can pick any of the analyst reports and they all say the same thing. The money is going to continue to go into IT. It's going to continue to go into automation and AI, as you said earlier, and so on. And honestly, Sabine, thinking, about yesteryear, this is something that traditionally your management consultants would come in and they'd run a 6-month assessment at great expense. And then they would often hand over their conclusions about, hey, how good is the technical landscape at my company? They'd hand that straight to the CEO without any context. And that's a first-class way to piss off the CIO. Forgive my language,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they were always fighting from their heels. Well, I say bye-bye to those consultants. Once Dex has been applied and reaches a steady state, and it's not there yet, but once it does, CIOs will have the power to monitor in real time the comprehensive pulse of the IT landscape and the digital culture of the company. And that frees up the IT organizations to work on the high value work and innovation. And with self healing solutions, Dex can proactively address technical issues before they affect the team, eliminating whole swaths of risks by making sure that on an automated basis, every device that's on the network is kept to the healthiest state. Employees are not where they shouldn't be. They're within only the digital confines of the organization, right? And this overall reduces the burden of routine and repetitive tasks that IT has had to do for so many years, and creates more time for them to evolve their skills and train for more demanding projects. And that is the future of IT and security. Far more strategic roles. And again, as I said, that's being recognized by the C-suite and the board of directors.
Yeah. In times where there is a major talent gap, at least in my industry, we have a talent gap. And, Gen Z want to have access to specific technology, and they want to enter industry which are going to enable them to access that technology. I think being able to see the ability of DP to allow organization to control their technology estate, but still allow young people to get access to the tools they want, to be on the edge and actually be relevant in the digital age, is so important, and potentially can help organization to win talent over others. What's your view?
I couldn't agree more. I think if you put all this together, it's something that the companies that become very good at, and it becomes a core competence, are going to be those that are maintaining best talent. And Sabine, you and I have talked about this before. Early in our careers, when we were interviewing for our first jobs, we never would have asked about the digital landscape of the company. Today's new applicants, this next generation of business worker, knowledge worker, is asking. They're asking, can you describe the digital landscape to me? What's the digital culture like? Those are routinely asked questions. So now it's being forced upon us just to keep best talent and to attract young, really good, young, aggressive talent. You have to address this challenge. You have to get really, really good at it. It has to become a competence, to your point. It is the next major strategic differentiator in the market.
So my last question to you, Jeff. You are the CEO of Ivanti, but you are a father, I believe, of a daughter and twins as well. Tell us, how do you apply everywhere work in your life?
Well, my board of directors is my wife of 27 years, Jacqueline, and she keeps me on the rails for my digital experience, which means since I am fully remote as a CEO, you're in my home office. We have set some barriers on when is work time and when is not, and she's learned to be flexible with me, but I've learned to know when to walk away too, and I'm sure you have the same challenge sometimes. But you're right, I am the very proud father of a twin boy and girl. My oldest daughter actually just graduated from the University of West London. Very proud of her. My son is a senior at the University of Tennessee, and then my youngest daughter is also a junior at the University of Tennessee, my alma mater. So I'm a proud dad that actually is working with the digital platform to maintain relationships with my kids even when they're far away. And that's one advantage of DEX right there is how we can stay close even when we're remote.
It's superb to hear that actually your children also, I guess, if I may say, keep you honest. And also thank you to Jacqueline for accepting for you to give me some time today. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining me on this conversation today. So much to learn from Ivanti and from also Everywhere Work, but also from the DEP platform and also from the DX report, which I think will come out soon in September. So thank you.
It's been my honor, Sabine, as always. It's an exciting topic, and you can tell I have passion. I know you do too. So thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Scouting for Growth. Please subscribe, share with friends, and leave a 5-star rating. Your rating is so valuable. I review all of them, and my team help me adapt content to meet your needs. Also, connect with me on my preferred channels. I am a B2B growth expert, so you will find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Threads, and X as well as Blue Sky. All information available below. Until next, keep scouting for growth.